I've been sitting here for 35 minutes listening to my man across the table run his mouth.
Drop the banner, please. Last one, if we could. Never a doubt. Bruise without toes. Wild, still excommunicated.
Where are you, Ron?
They eat lunch all up in your face and give you none.
This will be the motto for everyone, not just Nick Wright.
Never a doubt. How about never a chance? Oh. The only thing, guys, that would make this better is a sandwich with chips and a soda pop.
Live from New York, it's the show that has recently been heralded as not bad on Twitter. It's First Things First. Today, on the eve of the AFC Championship, aka the First Things First Bowl. In this, not really a corner, just an oblong desk, Chiefs fan and reigning Super Bowl champion, Nick Wright. And the challenger from Ohio and Iowa and Louisiana. He'll go to your house and eat a sandwich and not let you have any. He waves the pom-poms for no man. It's Chris Broussard taking this very seriously. Let's take a quick look at the tail of the tape for the First Things First Bowl. Here we go. Chiefs-Ravens, obviously. Nick has picked the Chiefs on February 13th, nearly a full year since their Super Bowl victory. Meanwhile, Broussard, September 1st, 148 days. And then in a joke that Dusty basically forced me to put in the show, toes down. Not applicable for Nick Wright. Brew, 10.
That's right. That's how I stay.
It seems like a foregone conclusion as we start the show, yet I will ask anyways. Nick, who you got?
Well, you know who I've got.
Yes.
But I'm going to tell you why I've got him. And Brew, if you'd like to hit this victory cigar, because it's the only one that you're going to come close to in the next 72 hours, I'll feel free to slide it over to you. But this is what the Chiefs have been building towards and what they have been built for. You must have a defense with answers if you run into one of the other superheroes that plays quarterback in this league. Last week, they did, and they did. They ran into one of them in Josh Allen, and they had the answers. What were the answers in that game? Keep everything in front of us. Trust our linebackers that we have invested in, much like the Ravens have and the Niners have actually, and the Lions for that matter with their high draft pick, when other teams have said, not that important of a position, inside linebackers. Trust that we can rally and tackle and give up little bits to prevent the giant chunks. To be able to have a defense that can do that, and then the very next week, do the exact opposite. Have a defense that can say, you know what? We are going to trust our two best corner duo in the league, our two young star corners, a first-team All-Pro and a first-team All-Pro that was snubbed, to handle your receivers one-on-one, because we are going to send the house at Lamar Jackson. Because while Lamar has been great this year, in his career, and we can show it to you, he has struggled against the Chiefs. Why is that? Steve Spagnuolo's been the D coordinator, and he has, even when the Chiefs' defense stunk, Lamar struggled. What is the only circumstance, Brew, under which Lamar has struggled this season? When you send a lot of pressure. So we can show you that. Lamar this year, if you send less than 6 rushers, that's how he won the MVP. Lamar, when you send 6, struggles. Why doesn't everyone do it? Because they don't have the corners to hold up if you send the 6. The Chiefs have been built for it, and by the way, probably should be mentioned, they also have the greatest player we've ever seen. Helps. If the defense can't, shut out the Ravens, which they probably would struggle to do. So that's why I believe in Kansas City.
I agree with you, they've got the greatest player we've ever seen, but they don't have the greatest player this season. This season, Lamar Jackson was the greatest player. And the fact is, from day one when this season started, we have seen who has been the best team. From day one, they wiped out a Houston team that, unbeknownst to us at the time, became a really good team. Yep. And we thought, oh, they beat them by 16 in week 1. C.J. Stroud was young. His first start, he didn't know what he was doing. They really weren't that good at that point. And then they meet him in the first game in the playoffs, or their first game, and they beat him even worse. All right, this team has no weaknesses. Defensively, you want to run, we can stop the run. You want to pass, we can stop the pass. In fact, we can put pressure on your quarterback. We sack quarterbacks more than anybody. All right, we take it away. We'll make you fumble. We'll get interceptions. Defensively, they do it all. Offensively, we got the best run game in the league, and we got the most unique runner maybe of the decade, all right, in quarterback Lamar Jackson. And we've got a new pass-friendly offense that he has mastered at this point in the season. They got better receivers. And Mark Andrews, the all-pro tight end, is back. So now we can throw the two tight end formation at you. They have so many ways to attack the Chiefs. And, Nick, last week, you said the Chiefs kind of let, for lack of a better term, Buffalo run on them.
Yes.
I don't think they let them. I think they just got pushed around on the line of scrimmage.
You don't think there was anything to do with them allowing 0 big plays the whole game, that you have to let something happen?
You don't ever want to let 182 yards happen. Okay. And it was a 3-point game. It wasn't like it was a blowout. And so I think Baltimore will be able to run on them, which will open things up even more for Lamar in the passing game. Defensively, like I said, they get a ton of sacks. All right, they led the league in sacks. And you know this, Spagnuolo, I meant to bring this up with the Russian. Since he's been the coordinator, he's great, Steve Spagnuolo. But since he's been their defensive coordinator since 2019, they have allowed the most rushing touchdowns by quarterbacks in the entire league, 26. And they ain't playing Lamar Jackson every week. All right, so Lamar should be able to rush for some touchdowns. And as far as the defense, Mahomes, you talked about Lamar struggling against the pressure. Mahomes has struggled mightily against the pressure this year. You see the 6 TDs, 7 interceptions, passer ratings down. Career-wise, he's been okay, but this year, not the same, because we all know he doesn't have the same receivers.
Well, and by the way, it should be noted the Chiefs had one first-team All-Pro on offense, Joe Thuney, and he is their one offensive player who might be out this week.
And the two tackles have struggled.
Which is all totally fair. I don't think the Chiefs need to score a lot of points in this game. This is a defense, field position, kickers game. And the sneaky story, something in the last year and a half happened with Justin Tucker. He can't hit long kicks anymore. This year, 0 for 4 from greater than 40 yards. Or greater than 50 yards, pardon me. I misspoke. He's still as money as you get 50 or inside. I think only missed 1 all year. But 0 for 4 from greater than 50 yards. Bucker missed 2 kicks all year, made 5 50-plus, and one of the 2 was with your guys cheating deflated footballs in New England, and then he missed the next one ever because it messed with his mojo. So here, you're right, Brew. And you saw it, obviously, way earlier than me because I thought the Ravens were going to miss the playoffs. So the Ravens have been great all year, and they showed it in Week 1. The Chiefs' defense has been great all year, and they showed it in Week 1. Week 1 against Detroit, a team that leans on their offense. Detroit scored 14 points on offense. They scored 21 in the game. 1 was a pick 6. That when the Chiefs have played the best quarterbacks, that's when they've played their best. The very next week, they held Trevor to 9. They held Jalen Hurts to 150 yards passing. They held Josh Allen in both the meetings to 410 yards passing total. They held Tua in 2 meetings to 21 offensive points, or 21 points from the offense, or from the team total. So the Chiefs have raised their game against the best quarterbacks, and you pointed out that one of the things the Ravens do so well is take the ball away. Yep. So I wonder if in this game that is actually beneficial to Kansas City in this regard. So Mahomes is right now on the longest streak in NFL history without a turnover in the playoffs. He's at without a pick. He's at 5 games. He already has the record. See if he extends it to 6. The Ravens this year were number 1 in takeaways at 31. The Chiefs were 5th worst in takeaways at 17. Despite that, it's 16.5 points a game allowed to 17 points a game allowed. The Ravens, part of their defensive strength has been turning the other team over. The Chiefs have been this great defensively without turning the other team over. And I think, and I don't know if you disagree with me on this, I think this weekend, the quarterback more likely to make a big mistake is Lamar Jackson. Now maybe a receiver
doesn't throw interceptions. He doesn't. He was third in the league in interception percentage. So now he has had problems fumbling.
Yes.
Not so much lately, but yeah, earlier in the season, he could fumble for sure. But I think Mahomes obviously will also throw a pick here and there. He hasn't, like you said, in the playoffs recently. But
he also, in his playoff career, he's thrown 7 in 16 games. 4 of those were in Super Bowls, and so he's thrown in the 13 non-Super Bowls he's played in. He's thrown 3 total interceptions, and so he's in the playoffs. He's pretty good at taking care of the football.
You saw when you were out there in the hallway getting ready, Brew.
Yeah.
You saw the clip, right?
Yes.
The clip that we ran.
Yes.
Your feet were on the table.
Yes.
Yeah. You're talking about sandwiches.
Yes.
This guy right here, not that guy.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Look, I know.
You didn't notice there was a lot of there was a lot of cogent analysis in that segment. There wasn't a lot of bluster. There was
the only bluster came out of this cigar and from that beautiful Versace robe.
You didn't see those jabs and that uppercut?
Yeah, before the segment actually started.
But once, see, can I tell you why?
This is not, privately for the audience, Wildes is on Nick's side. You are a Chiefs fan. You are a Chiefs fan. I know who you got.
Brew, can I ask you?
This is like Ali versus Foreman when Don King was the promoter. King wanted Foreman, but we know who prevailed.
Brew, since you just brought up boxing, it's kind of boxing motif, can I tell you, Wildes, what happened here? Mm-hmm. Brew prepped all week, all day leading up for one thing, and then all of a sudden, I came out in a southpaw stance. I didn't say anything about the Chiefs' offense. I didn't say anything about Mahomes or Kelsey. I made it all about that Chiefs defense, and he was disarmed.
No.
He was all of a sudden, he was like, that's not what I was preparing for.
They'll go out there
looking like Sweet Pea Whitaker.
They'll go out there in 12 personnel with 2 tight ends. They can run the football. They got a quarterback you can't account for. They got receivers. What?
It sounded like you were trying to
weaknesses.
convince Nick.
I'm not worried.
You're trying to convince Nick, the audience, me.
And himself. Correct.
Okay.
That's right.
Take that to the bank. Take that to the bank. We'll see how that.
Mahomes' 3-2 career record in AFC Championship games. 1 loss to Brady, 1 loss to Burrow. Could Lamar be the 3rd QB on the list? Well, not if Mahomes plays, honestly, just fine. League average passer rating is 90-ish. His career average, 103, second best ever. But, Brew, if he just has a regular game, not like below average for him, 80 or above, they've won every time. So the question is, can Kansas City win without a big game from Patrick Mahomes?
No. I'm not saying he has to go historic for him, because historic for him is crazy. But he has to have a great game. I disagree with Nick. Baltimore is going to score. I think the Chiefs are going to have to go about 30 points or more to win this game.
So Baltimore's going to set the season high for points scored against the Chiefs.
Yeah, they're the best team the Chiefs have played.
Sure. No,
Chiefs have not faced anything close to Baltimore.
No, that's totally. I'm just
because everything they faced Miami. Baltimore beat them by 37. All right, they didn't play Buffalo, but Baltimore destroyed. They played Detroit. Detroit beat y'all by a point. Baltimore beat them by 32. Sure. I mean, you haven't seen the likes of this, all right? 9 of their last 11 games in which they played the starters. So I threw out the last game of the season, all right? They've scored more than 30 points in 9 of their last 11.
Pretty good.
And even including the games they didn't score 30, they've averaged 34 points a game over the last 11. 6 of those opponents are playoff teams. Like, they're scoring. So Mahomes is going to have to be Mahomes. He's going to have 30 or more points. I know he hasn't had to yet, but I don't think that defense, again, I was not impressed. I was impressed with the victory by the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. I wasn't impressed with the defense.
Okay, well, so then, Hubs, can we just switch the order real quick? Can we just show the Chiefs' second half defense over the last 2 months? The idea, like, this is a weird thing that's going on, which is people are just finding reasons to not believe what they see.
Nick, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals without Joe Burrow, Chargers without Justin Herbert. I mean, I'm supposed to be impressed by that?
What about last week against the team you thought was going to beat them?
Oh, they played well, like I said, but they got run on like crazy.
Right, and
they gave up 182 yards rushing.
Drop the banner for it. I mean, they scored 7 points. They won
by 3, 27-24.
I get it. I get it. If you listen, it's just a difference of opinion. If you were not impressed by the Chiefs' defense last Sunday, then I don't know what to tell you. And what I do know what to tell you is what Mahomes has done in his career against Baltimore. And it's not this year, but Baltimore, every year except for one, has had a top 3 scoring defense that Mahomes has played them, okay? Every year of Lamar's career, they've been first, second, or third scoring defense except for one season. Patrick averages 370 passing yards, 120 rating, and it's the most ever by any quarterback against any opponent.
That's past history, man. Who was the top receiver on those teams? Every single one of those games.
What? No, it's not true. McCole Hardman had the biggest game.
No, I'm talking about who was on the team. Who was the best receiver on the Chiefs?
Oh, okay. Tyreek Hill was
every single one of those games. They had Tyreek Hill.
He was on
even
the
if
team.
He didn't kill in that game, you had to worry about him. He was a threat.
That's exactly right. Which is why it's really good they don't need a big game from him. I can tell you exactly what they need in this game. It's a little 5-point plan. Can I show it to you?
Oh, wow.
We can do a little countdown. Show it to you if you would. 4 sacks of Lamar Jackson, which they will
Christmas
get.
Carol.
3 big Mahomes throws. You don't need a half dozen. You don't need a bunch.
That would count as a really good game. 3 big throws.
No, I thought I know you don't think.
I'm not talking about
against
15
the Bills.
yards across the middle.
I understand.
What's a big throw?
What?
Big Mahomes throw.
Like the play to MVS. To open the second half.
Okay.
He had that against Buffalo. He had 3, and you didn't
he
think
played
he had a
well
really
against
exactly.
Buffalo. He didn't play great.
2 back-breaking Mahomes scrambles.
Check.
Just one defensive pass interference on Snead. I'm just baking in one. Let's not have multiple. Snead's going to get handsy, and then 0 Mahomes turnovers, which is what you're going to get. And so that's the recipe. They don't need. This is the point I've been trying to make, Brew. They built a team so he doesn't have to be Superman, knowing he can be. So he just needs to take the cape off a few times in a game that this defense has allowed more than 30 points in a game once in 35 games.
They have not faced the likes of this. They haven't. Every big team that y'all played, that Baltimore played, Baltimore crushed.
Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just saying, you can talk about, like I said, that graphic you showed where they shut down the Chargers and they shut down the Patriots. That's irrelevant compared to this.
No, I was more focused on what they did in the 2 playoff games against a Miami offense that everyone loved all year and a Bills team that smart people were picking.
Chilly.
We knew Miami would struggle against anybody in cold weather.
Here's what the Chiefs, though, had for the Bills game.
I don't think you saw this.
They had bulletin board material.
Mm-hmm. Lots of it.
They had lots of it.
I see.
And the Ravens have been very smart in not giving the Chiefs bulletin board material. True. But, Brew, did you see Patrick Mahomes' personal Instagram this morning?
I didn't.
Because he made a post this morning. Can we play it for the audience? Here's Mahomes' post. Sound up, please.
Is that actually true?
I swear to God. That's what Patrick
I know it
Mahomes
probably hurt him because I'm a big fan of Patrick Mahomes.
Dusty,
I'm the first to call him Jordan-esque, but I got to tell the truth.
We got to put it on the board. What? We got to put it on the board.
You're supposed to put me on the board, not
all right, you want the actual you?
Yeah,
you can pick.
That one
you
on.
can pick
put the
one goes on.
Put the one in the suit.
Chris Broussard. Going on the board. I'm putting it right here, Dust. I don't care. It's going right over there, right in the middle, where everyone can see it so we can eliminate him. Chris Broussard has given the Chiefs what they needed.
That's a good
bulletin board material. The Cowboy will have to wait for another day.
Wow, he put that on there.
Yeah.
I know it hurt him because I called him Jordan.
Really hurt.
And I've been in this corner.
Extra motivation.
And I am in this corner, but
I
got to.
You're not.
No. Overall, he's the greatest we've ever seen. But they are going to go down.
What I say 5 minutes ago?
Exactly right.
Your heart's not in it if you're saying you're on the.
I've been calling him the greatest we've ever. I mean, in the long run,
right.
Overall, he is the greatest,
bro.
The best we've ever seen. Best quarterback we've ever seen. Jordan-esque.
How many games like this Michael Jordan lose?
Great take.
No, I mean Jordan lost conference finals.
This guy's on the Jordan corner now.
Jordan lost conference finals.
Once he started winning championships, he did?
No, they're different in that way.
Okay.
They're different in that way. Jordan won straight.
Joined Kay Adams and pitched a formula. Okay. What can Lamar prove with a win?
Well, I was really surprised, Brew, at how many people, when I did that all-time quarterback pyramid, and I had Lamar on there on the bottom, I knew some people would disagree with that. But what people really took issue with was me saying, if he retired today, he'd be a Hall of Famer. But I thought it was almost that everyone would agree, because if you have 2 league MVPs, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Like, it just... So there is no precedent of you not being a Hall of Famer with that. With that said, if you think it's borderline, if he wins this game and then retire and then never lose Super Bowl, never plays again, Hall of Famer. If you have 2 league MVPs and went to a Super Bowl, Hall of Famer first of all, and second of all, and see if you agree, what winning this game would do is make it not a debate about who's the second best quarterback in football. There'd be a debate about who's the third best quarterback in football. 1 and 2, and maybe some would argue Lamar's 1 and Mahomes is 2, whatever it is. But he would have separated himself like Mahomes has, because no other active quarterback other than Rodgers has MVPs. Only a few have been to a Super Bowl, to where he is a clear-cut top 2 quarterback.
Yeah, he'd be the rival for Mahomes. And you said the other day Mahomes doesn't have one. If Lamar doesn't win the Super Bowl, maybe that's still true. But right now, if you had to pick a rival for Mahomes, it would be Burrow, and people would say it because he beat him in the playoffs. So if Lamar wins this game, he will have beaten him in the playoffs and have 2 MVPs to match Mahomes. So you would really – that would be a rivalry. I really think there'd be a rivalry.
But nobody would say he's won. Is someone really going to say he's won?
I think some people would. I would not.
Yeah, some people saying Josh Allen's won.
I think some people will say that.
We got to throw those.
But here's the other thing.
Happening?
And what Taylor Lewan said about there's a way to stop him, make him throw the ball. Bill Polian, the GM, Hall of Fame GM, said that a week ago.
They weren't watching this year.
Right. Look, Lamar is a much better passer this year. He had a career high in completion percentage. Like I said, career low or tied it in interception rate. He's got a more pass-friendly offense. He's got better receivers, not just the tight end that he can throw it to, right, Mark Andrews. So, I think that plays into what else he could prove. Because people still seem to think his style cannot win big. Even though we saw Jalen Hurts win big, except he didn't win the Super Bowl, this would prove, you know what, you got to stop saying these guys that run a lot and are quote-unquote running quarterbacks can't win. So I think that's what he would prove as well.
Okay. Can I tell you something, Brew? I thought that was a very good point. Also, halfway through the segment, I forgot you were wearing a robe. That was just a normal quote.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.